Hello, viewers. Welcome to the second episode of our podcast. Today, we're talking about a topic that is very exciting and interesting that relates to Christian students. The topic is finance and business. With me here is Sister Mmesoma Nnaji, a photographer, and Bro Israel Onyedika, a video editor and graphics designer. I'll be your anchor for today's episode. The first person I have for my guest is, as a student and a business, how did you start? What motivated you? What was the motivation behind starting a business as a student, even as a student? I'll be the first speaker.
Is it me that started? Or?
Yeah, Israel will start.
No, start.
Israel, you will start.
You started first.
Israel, you start. He's so confident.
All right.
Yeah.
Let me just start. All right. So thank you. I'm so honored and privileged to be here. Okay. The question is, what was my motivation that made me start business? All right. I started as far back as 2020. I started with graphic design, and then from graphic design started to branch out to video editing and all the other things I started. Actually, the motivation is money. Yes, money is motivation. It's money we're all looking for, right? I saw the need to make money. I didn't want to be over depending on my parents, every small thing you're calling, and then I knew where I was coming from, right? So I told myself that I needed to have something doing, that need to have something doing and support my parents, support myself in schools. That was my biggest motivation. And then aside that, I'm a very creative person. I love anything that involves creativity. So when I started, I was like, wow, I love this thing. It's bringing out the creative part of me more, and that was a motivation. But if I were to place them side by side, the bigger motivation is actually the money involved. Yeah.
All protocols duly observed. Thank you for having me here. Okay, I will say my motivation was just that I did not like seeing bad photos. Nothing more.
Like seeing what?
Bad photos. Nothing more, nothing less. I'm not moved by material things.
Interesting.
Okay, since you did not like seeing bad photos, how did you, as a photographer, how did you advertise your work? How did you advertise your work? How did people get to know you? How did you become popular, to become the popular videographer?
Okay, first of all, I'm not popular.
Exactly what I wanted to ask. What? Okay. No, she's popular in Jesus' name. Oh, don't worry, Koti, how did you know? She's actually popular. If you check her Instagram everywhere.
Okay, first of all, I'm not popular. I'm just going about doing my father's business. I did not advertise. I did not make flyers. I didn't make videos trying to say I am videography or anything, or I take photos, because what was driving me at that point was not the money. It was just I wanted good photos, of course. So I just go about pairing with persons that I feel like, okay, this person matches my taste, and I'm like, okay, let's do something. Let's be creative. Let's do a shoot. So when it eventually comes out good, the person is the one that talks about me, not me going about talking about the whole thing. So even if I advertised, it was not intentional. So I could take a picture, post on my status, and be like, oh, I'm good though, I'm bad, but I was not trying to say, okay, book me, do you get? I was just trying to say, okay, do you get? So
you know, I think interesting thing, this sister wants to make it look as if I'm canal. So because I said, okay, no, see, let's clarify this thing. Okay. Are you trying to see that money being a motivation, is it like it's a bad thing? Because the way you made it now, I think I'm canal. Okay, let me just say something quickly. That if money is your motivation, I don't think it's entirely bad, right? Because all of us, we need money. Every one of us needs money. Every human being. I was talking with somebody sometime, and then he started to tell me how that is not, Christians should not be wanting to have money. And then I started to tell him, okay, what if you now want to host crusades, missions, or things like that? Don't you think it's money that you used to host it? So I think that first idea, or the first understanding Christian students should have, is that having money as a motivation is not bad. But if she's talking like this, I believe it means that there's somewhere else the money was coming
Okay,
from.
let me come in there. The thing is that having money as a motivation will not last. That's just the problem. Because the day money will not come in, what moves you to continue doing what you're doing is beyond the money.
That's
It could
true.
be your passion, it could be that people are encouraging you. And that's why passion also plays an important role, because passion is
I actually
there
agree with that.
whether money is there or not.
Yeah. I think yes, she has a very valid point.
Yeah.
Because at some point when I started, I said I started because of money. At some point when I started, money was no more coming the way I thought it would come. When I started, I expected I would see money, but for a very extended period of time, I did not see that money. But what kept me? Remember, I said I had two motivation. Please, dear viewers, I am not carnal. I said I had two motivations: money and my drive for creativity. So at the point where I could not see money for a while, that's my passion for creativity was one of the things that kept me motivated. Yeah. So, and then how I advertised myself. Yes, everybody I met, I made sure that first of all I started serving in fellowship. I tell people this, and it's an underestimated fact. Church trains you for free. Church fellowship. You can learn anything. You can learn people skills. You can learn communication. They tell you to handle a Bible study. That's communication. You've learned it. So I started designing in Scripture in on campus fellowship as you say, and play. People started knowing that, oh, you're the one designing flyers for the fellowship. From knowing me, their classmates knew me, and the chain started growing like that. So I think my major means of advertising in the beginning was service in fellowship. That was my major means of advertising. She too, I think she started in fellowship.
You won't speak for me.
No, okay, sorry. Okay. But I'm just saying, we've been there together now, so together. Oh God. But we've journeyed.
Yeah, so
you
basically what we're trying to say is that we didn't pay for ads or anything. It was just we're doing what we're doing, and it was just announcing itself, just like Jesus, our role model. You get
people were just like, before you know it, impact. So it was not my plan for people to be calling me.
Yeah, not just impact, they were calling me biography. Yeah,
just trending
it's
everywhere.
not pride, so
basically. So basically, yeah, that was our major means of advertising. Mine, I believe, is the same for her. Basically, that's word of mouth. And then with time, I started advertising on WhatsApp, TV.
I don't see advertise.
I think advertising is not like it's a bad thing.
It's not a bad thing.
Whatever you do, if people don't, that's the first step of making money. Once you get something doing, let people see what you're doing. Because I've seen people who, especially at the beginning part, there are people who my designs were better than, but just because they had a wider audience, they were able to make more money than me. More people were seeing what they were doing. So I used to tell people that you cannot be selling something and then all you're doing is to be posting it on your status. Meanwhile, the people who have in your status are maybe just 20 persons.
And they're not even interested in what you're selling.
Inside those 20, it's not like they're interested in what they are selling. Maybe your fellowship people, church people, your relatives, your first cousin,
your family members.
And then every day you are posting, I'm awake, or you will come and buy from me. Every day for 1 week, for 1 month, the same 20 persons are seeing it. It will not make sense that way. So I think God just had a way of making our journey unique, or my journey in the beginning. That word of mouth advertising, more and more persons, the circle kept expanding, and as it kept expanding, that's how money kept coming in. So if you want to advertise, there's Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Google ads, WhatsApp TVs too. You can run ads there too. Whatever it takes to get more eyes to see whatever you do. If it's changing, you're selling, perfume business, shoes, whatever, photography, is it a skill, is it a product? The more eyes see it, right, the more sales you bring in.
Well, I just learned a whole lot now. You said something about you did not advertise, that you were just posting, snap your posts, and then people see it and love your work. So talking on the place of professionalism, what makes your work unique? Like, what makes it unique?
Okay, I would say 3 things. Number 1, I deliver on time. Number 2, I give it my best. And number 3, I make sure that there's an existing relationship between I and the client. When you deliver, they are photographers. that deliver fast, but they don't give in their best. There are photographers that give in their best, but they don't deliver fast. There are photographers that do the both, but they don't have a relationship with their clients. One thing about a photographer, I don't know if you've heard people say, I would have gone to this guy, but this guy too they come late. So you go to another person, or I would have gone to this guy, just that, you know, all those excuses. But then I was able to make sure that I'm balanced in those three. There are places you go to not because their service is top notch, just because you just love the way he communicates with you. You come back, you just enjoy that time, that period of time and all that, the gist. And I make sure that when I'm talking, I'm not always talking photography. Sometimes you can decide to talk about the person's business. What are you doing? You know, you exchange values.
As you're saying, sorry to cut you short, as you're saying all these things, I just have one question in my head. I'm like, these things you're saying, and did you know them at the beginning when you started? How did you know? Because like, and then when you started, I'm very sure your photos were not as good as they are now. So how come that same photos people saw, like, how did it get to the point? How do you know all these things, you know?
The thing is that for me, it was experience that taught me. And there's this thing about getting feedbacks from people. When you hear from your clients, the pictures are fine, but you didn't deliver on time. I've taken note. You delivered on time, but I feel like you didn't do what biography normally does. You're like, it's as if something is still missing. You're taking note of that. You get, and then when I find out that I have this relationship with my clients, they will say, oh, I enjoyed the time. Aside from the whole photo process, I enjoyed spending time with you. I actually learned one or two from you. So I already know, okay, this is going well. So that's it for me, actually.
And also, let me also say something from what she shared. You know, people think when they look at some people who are entrepreneurs who are doing well, they feel like, oh, this person just started and just became good overnight or something. There is a level of sacrifice. I'm very sure there are a lot of YouTube videos you watch. I'm very sure that there are courses you attended.
YouTube was my second home.
Exactly. And that's one secret people don't know. You see YouTuber, like, do you know if you go on YouTube and you type how to sleep, you see a video on how to sleep? I'm telling you, everything you want to learn is on YouTube. The advantage of maybe paying for other classes is just that the information on YouTube is so scattered that you just need somebody who has gone ahead to put everything together in a sequence the way it should be. So I believe that there's a place of being diligent, get yourself to be very, as much as everything you can do all the learning, put in the work, late nights, borrow, ask questions and everything in between. You get now. So and that was the same thing for me in my journey. I remember when I started graphic design, there were many times that I would be designing, like every day. No day would pass that I will not design. That time, if you see me walking on the road, I'll just be walking, and then I'll see a flyer on the road, and or maybe a banner. I'll bring out my phone and snap. And you need to see the phone, the gadget I was using then. It was one small rubbish phone, but I didn't take it as an excuse. I was like, no, I have to get this done. Many people, they give a lot of excuses and all of that. And that's one thing that prevents people from being financially free or making money or doing well in their business. Excuses. There's no excuse you want to give in this earth that has not been given or overcome by somebody. And if you want to give excuses, I hope you know, if anybody can give excuses. Like, if you look for excuses, you will always find. So just come out of the excuses and put in the work, learn, pay people, do all you have to do, basically, with time. And yes, there's a factor of time. Because remember, you were saying that your pictures before, do you know, I'll look at some designs that I made back then for SUCF or for some other.
I think I've seen one.
And why is this laughter? I looked at some designs that I made some years back, and I'll see like color white on top of color yellow, you know, a lot of. And you know that when I made those designs, I was looking at it and I was like, oh,
you was proud of yourself.
I'm telling you, I was very proud of the designs I did. But now I'm looking at them from the hindsight of growth. It just goes to tell you that growth happens with time. Yes, there are some things that don't happen overnight. So whatever you're doing, give it time while you are doing what you need to do. Because some persons just think that they wait and they will get better. time can be passing and you will not get better because you didn't do what you were supposed to do.
True. True.
Bro Israel, as a pharmacy student, you know what pharmacy can be like.
You can't
How do you cope combining your academics and business? Like you do all your academics and then your work is so neat, so clean. How do you cope combining the both?
That's a very interesting question because I get this question a lot. Like if I got $1 for each time I'm asked this question, I'll be very rich. Maybe not a millionaire yet, but I'll be very, very rich. I get this question a whole lot. Like a lot of people ask me because I'm in pharmacy and I'm in 500 level, and sincerely it's something else. If you want to understand what pharmacy, you just ask any pharmacy student. But there are two things that have helped me. The first thing is that I have understood by the grace of God the power of systems and structures. What I mean is this: an example of a system is that if you set an alarm on your phone, you say I want an alarm to ring by 8:30 p.m. Once it's 8:30 p.m., no matter what is going on, as long as that phone is off. You know, sometimes my phone, even if it's off, if I switch it off, once it's time for that alarm, the phone will turn on and ring. No matter what happens, the thing rings. That's a system. A system is an organized way to do things. So for example, in those days, I would say, all right, Saturdays, when I start shooting video content, really, because I do content creation on Instagram and I edit video, I would say, all right, on Saturdays is my day for creating videos and editing videos. So that thing is now a system for me. I can use Monday to Friday to do my schoolwork. Once it's Saturday, I know that I'm using it for this. So the power of systems and structures. If maybe you're doing chin chin, a business like chin chin, you can create a system around it such that you don't have to be every day you're trying to struggle to fry, to go to the market fry. A system can be buying in bulk so that you don't have to go to the market more frequently. Find a place to store it, things like that. The second thing is that a high level of discipline. My God, I know she can relate to this because like
sure.
you no, I'm very sure you can relate to it because you can't be this good. This sister is good at what she does. I'm telling you. No, this one is not hype. It's not hype. You can't be this good. There are some levels of greatness you can. No, this one is never humble or humility matter. There are some levels of greatness that you cannot reach without some sort of discipline, like I'm telling you, and sacrifice. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, because speaking of sacrifice, thank you very much. There are times when other people may have the freedom to maybe watch a movie or go out or do. I'm trying to use that time to catch up because I'm trying to trying to wear two hats at the same time. So it's not, you have to sacrifice and you have to discipline yourself. What has to be done has to be done.
Yeah.
Like when it's time to be done, do it that way. That's basically this too. There may be other things, but because our time here is limited.
Yeah, I just want to add something. When you ask the question of how do you balance academics and business, the first question you should ask yourself is, why am I doing the business? When you ask that question, it helps you plan yourself. Are you doing it to support yourself in school, or is the business, or you just got into it because it's a family thing?
Wow.
Do you get, or you just did it because you have excess time? I don't know if you get. Like in his case now, he's doing it to support himself and much more. You get. So the way he's going to live the life of someone that is doing it for passion's sake will not be the same.
Yeah, that's true.
He's going to put more time in it because it cannot suffer loss. No one can suffer loss, but this person can afford to always push one aside. And then you now have a limited time. Okay, you have how many years in school? Maybe on a normal, it takes you 6 years to be good in this, but because of the time frame you have to struggle. Like even if it's 2 years, 1 year, you have to just be good at it, and that is actually it. So, like he said, he has really said it all: discipline, sacrifice, avoid procrastination too.
Yeah,
it's another.
I was going to say that.
Avoid it with all your heart and with all your might.
Talk is cheap.
I'm telling you,
talk is cheap.
It's not like there are days we don't procrastinate though. There's some days
very guilty.
There are some days we just like, I cannot do again. Now let me call this place. Okay, that's it actually.
Sincerely, procrastination can wound you. And I wanted to say, I don't really think that balance that people talk about so much, I don't really think it exists.
It doesn't actually.
It's an illusion.
Yeah.
In my opinion. Because you cannot be reading and be doing graphic design. So at some point, one, exactly.
Yeah.
But what makes it look as if you're balanced is that you catch up in time.
Yeah.
You don't allow it to now swallow you. Exactly.
Yeah.
The suffering doesn't show, but at some point one will be up, one will be down. At some point you're down, and there's never really a time when they are equally placed, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I want to add something on that discipline part. You know, some of you hear discipline, you think about making sure you design every day. Discipline can also be knowing when to take a job offer or not.
Yes.
It's not every time it comes you take it. There are days you don't take job, just close for that period. Because don't try to run your business like a graduate. Oh my God, don't try it. You're still like, you remember why you came to school, you're still going to graduate.
People that know me, it's exam time.
Yeah.
I take a break. I just
your own might not be exam time. Maybe you can handle the pressure during exam, but just know when. Just not everything, and don't be everywhere. Oh my God, don't try to do everything.
And
don't avoid sieve.
That's true.
I know some persons, I'll be right where you say, I don't have money to start this. How do I start this? It's only my school fees, feeding money, I came to school with. How will I start this? So we want to ask you, how did you get the funding to start this?
So did you steal? Let me ask you.
I say what I say. Whether they use funding to start.
Okay, but did you steal more?
How will I steal?
Okay, let me be sure.
Just tell us, how did you start? There was no money.
Tell us. Yes, how did you start?
Okay. Basically, my skill, what I do is more of a soft skill, right? So it's not like I needed money to start. The technology has moved in such a way that things like graphic design, video editing, you can do all of this with your phone. And it doesn't need to be a sophisticated phone. I mentioned earlier that if the editors are going to put the picture of the phone, I can send it to them. There's the phone I used, very small, it was paralyzed, half of the screen was not touching. I'm telling you. No, okay, now that might be.
Why do you want to use a button phone? What do you want to do?
Somebody that's still using a button phone, maybe okay, let's just say maybe finances. But I think in this age and day, AI is everywhere, and you're still having a button phone as your major phone.
Even if you have a button phone as your major, it's actually not still an excuse to not learn something.
Oh, I don't know if I agree with that.
I see. Okay, let me say something. Okay, for instance, now.
Okay.
I'm a photographer.
Yes.
I know what I'm saying.
I get the direction.
Yes. So okay. What do you do in your free time when you go home? Do you try to get something to use, even if it's just 2 hours in a month you have with somebody else's phone? It's something.
Okay. I see the direction she's coming from. You know, the way you said it at the beginning, it's not sound like all these motivational speakers. I used to say I started
from the tree.
Exactly. Yes, you can actually borrow if you don't have a phone. Maybe a friend, close to you will have a phone. Get it.
And then when you're making money with this phone, the person will feel free to be giving it to you.
And you know, there's a way to go about this thing. You don't just borrow somebody's thing, then you return it anyhow. You return it damaged. If you can't save, buy it something and give to the person. Thank you for lavish in the gratitude. The person will be free to release it next time. So these are strategies. Milky don't know, but anything.
Let me say something like all these things that requires a lot of funding. Like he said now, his own, just by having a smartphone and not too sophisticated. But my own now, it's kind of technical. How do I put it?
Because you need a camera.
You need a camera. You need a laptop. But you can also take with phones. But the truth is that it's not just any phone.
Yeah,
you just do it with
their phones.
Yes. So that one might be a challenge for you. But if it was not really, like he said in the beginning, that you're not the first person to face that as a challenge. There are people that have faced it and they came out of it. So why not you go to them, ask them questions? How did you go about it? Like me now, the first one I was using was also wonderful. my own case is different because I wasn't using a good phone at first. The phone was terrible. When I mean terrible. In fact, I don't even want to list the features of the phone. Even graphics I cannot do. Forgive me, sir. But then I was blessed with to use an iPhone. But then it's not one of those, But then I say using it. I say editing with my phone. I was watching a lot of YouTube videos, of course. Sometimes if I get hold of a good phone, I try as much as possible to maximize that opportunity. Test the camera, what's going on,
This thing reminded me of something. There's somebody I know who started learning graphic design by drawing.
Wow.
As in, he draws flyers.
Wow.
First of all, he started by replicating flyer. Like, he'll pick a flyer, a billboard, a handbill. Sorry, not billboard, a handbill. A handbill, and then he gets a plain sheet, A4 sheet, and with his pen, ruler, he write the name of the church, draw a circle for logo. Did all of those things for some time, for some months. That's what he was doing. I just remember this thing now. That guy right now, if I call his name, some of you might know him, but maybe let me not just call his name. But right now, he has a laptop. He even gives away laptops. Somebody that started like that. My own journey may not be that different, but I just remember this too, to support the fact that you said that people have faced worse scenarios than yours. So there's really is no excuse.
And that thing about that same funding, because these way many people have issues of starting out. I don't have money, I don't know, how do I go about it? Another thing is, you will learn how to, like, that sacrifice also applies in your money. You don't spend anyhow. You save a lot. For me now, there were times I had to rent camera just to do a creative shoot that I won't be paid for. Not like the person is going to pay me, but I needed to touch camera. So sometimes I save money, I put money aside, I'll rent camera, I'll go out to do a shoot, 1 or 2. Do you get? Because I knew that it's not that they're going to pay me, just so that I can get, so that if opportunity finally comes, I'm prepared for whatever it is. I don't know if you get.
Exactly. That people keep waiting and they're like, oh, there's no chance. Many times opportunity will not come to you. You actually go and look for it. Yes. People who are saying, I don't know graphic design because I don't have a laptop. Meanwhile, your church media is there or your fellowship media is there, right? So you can go and look for opportunities by yourself. And if for a must, what you want to do requires funding, you can start with something else and know that this is just to raise funds for the other thing. Yes,
let me add this story because of time. There was something that was shared one day story. He said that the guy wanted to do open a foundation where he gets to take people less privileged to school and all that, and he had a flyer, he had all these notes, they tell you support us, and that kind of thing needs money. It needs a whole lot of money. So what did he do? He found out that he's very good in teaching maths. What did he do? It's not his passion, but he was doing something that will help him fuel and build his passion. So he started teaching maths, started doing tutorial classes, and he was getting money. Before people started knowing him and all that. Before now he has started doing what he wanted to do. So now if he comes to you and tell you, please help me, support, people will see, okay, he has started something. So another thing is, start something,
because people will not support
you until they see what you are able to do. You were able to do. Thank you. I know.
This one is very
have
important.
Something
people
first.
Will support you until they see what you're actually doing, what you're capable
especially
of
when you don't have much, but you're able to pull this
out of little. They want to
support you.
You can do this much with this little. Isn't it in the Bible?
Talent, Abi.
Thank you. It's in the Bible. It said, to him who has much, more given.
Okay, I think with this we are gradually coming to the end of this.
Gradually. Sorry, start with easy. Subscribe.
See you on our next podcast, and don't forget to subscribe, share, and like.
I think if you have any questions, just go ahead, type it in the comments section. We'll be reading it. Does this podcast have a name?
We'll figure it out.
They are supposed to give us a name. So as you're watching this now, can you suggest a name for this podcast, right?
Sure.
So what do you think we should call this podcast? This is episode 2 already, so that by episode 3 we should have a name for our podcast. Go ahead and let us know in the comments. See you on the next episode. Bye. Over and out. The end.